Come to Helmuth Ford, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Hi, this is Stacy from Shuttler Insurance Services. Come see me on the east side of the square in Sigourney for all your insurance needs.
The first annual Southeast Iowa Anglers Club Banquet is this Saturday, September 27th at the National Guard Armory at 2660 Highway 63, Oskaloosa. Doors open to the public at 4 p.m. The meal begins at 6 p.m. There will be games, door prizes, raffles, and the auction will follow. Southeast Iowa Anglers Club is dedicated to the conservation of fish habitat in local lakes and ponds in the effort to educate youth and adults on fish species, fishing equipment, and techniques. For more information, look up Southeast Iowa Anglers Club on Facebook. Steve Shuttler Media once again proudly presents Pekin High School football live video streams each Friday night this fall, with home and away games and the playoffs. Tune in Friday nights for Pekin High School football right here on Steve Shuttler Media, Facebook, and YouTube.
Hey, this is Fred Ottman, Tugboat Typhoon, the Shockmaster, the B-A-double-D, Big Steel Man. And the card is subject to change. Watch it.
Welcome back to the show!
Welcome back to the show!
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and Never Wrong Nick Bull.
Hello, one and all, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan, for the fan. Of course, we are powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. I want to thank those guys so much for their contributions, not only to the Card Subject to Change, but to, of course, the For Frequency's Sake Network. It's a tongue twister here. Coming to you late night on a Saturday night, Daddy-O. It's the Late Show. I am your host, Never Wrong Nick Bull. So happy to be here. Of course, I got the sunglasses on because I was up late last night and then did not get much sleep. And I look worse than pre-Undertaker or early Undertaker Paul Bearer makeup where the circles are down here. So, I look horrendous. But we troubadoured through the day with little sleep. Big wrestling day, of course. Of course, we're here to talk wrestling. We're coming to you live late night on a Saturday night. Usually we come to you live on a Sunday afternoon, but we thought, hey, let's go ahead and hit you after this big wrestling day and break it down for you, and then we'll take Sunday off from wrestling. Sounds like a plan, right? Sounds like a deal. Works for me. I'm Never Wrong Nick Bull. Thank you for joining. We got to introduce to you my tag team partner. He is he's the bass riff that keeps the beat going. We could not do this without him, man. He is also an alleged wizard. I have yet to see any certificate, documentation of this. So I don't know. I don't know if his license will be able to work in the state that you're listening to him in. So if you can hear him, his license works in your state, and if you can't, it's because your state has muted his transmission here. Regardless, he is the one. He is the only. He is my dear pal. He is my good friend. He is Chris Zach, but he is really the Wizard CZ. Wiz, how you doing, bud?
I am a little bit tired, but I'm doing pretty good. It's been a good day of wrestling. And I'll just say that wizard licenses work very similar to manager licenses in wrestling. You got to have one, otherwise you can't be a certified wizard like me.
Yeah, we got to get this on a certificate or something in an 8x10, or something, behind you. Just, how okay, you know how meteorologists, they have their accreditation. underneath if they're, accredited by the American Meteorological Society or whatever other accreditation services there are. You probably need to have that. You probably should start posting that, and that might steer more people our way. So just some food for thought. I'll just throw that out there. Maybe throw up your accreditation as part of your Chiron at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, I'll work on that. I will work on that.
Okay.
So where do you want to start, partner?
Where do you want to start? I mean, we could have started at 2:00 local time this afternoon watching wrestling and watched All Out. Let me look at a text here I received from a friend who was texting me during WrestlePalooza, which is what we're going to be talking about. And the show for All Out ran 4 hours and 53 minutes. You could go 5 hours and 53 minutes if you want to include the pre-show. I don't include the pre-show, so they're coming in at just under 5 hours. I understand the counter programming. They're doing that to bite into WWE's time, which of course WWE's time started at 6:00 local time for WrestlePalooza. So if you watched All Out from beginning to end, you got into WrestlePalooza a little over an hour into it. And credit to you. With our schedules, it just wasn't going to happen today.
Right.
Too much was going on in both of our personal lives, and we made it. We just made a decision like, hey, we're going to skip All Out, and it's not because I don't like AEW anymore and I like WWE. I don't think I could have invested myself into a 5-hour show today, and I knew going in what that was going to be. I'm not ripping off I'm not ripping AEW here by any means. There just wasn't anything on this card to me that sizzled, that made me say, man, I've got to watch that show. Did every match have that for me tonight? No. And I'll talk about that here in a little bit when we break down WrestlePalooza here on the card subject to change. But yeah, we didn't have time. So we said, hey, we're going to do Palooza and we're going to do the show right after, no matter what. We were going to do the show no matter what, regardless of what we watched today. But we watched WrestlePalooza instead. It started 6:00 local time here. And I think I was back on the road at 9:30. It was less than 3.5 hours long. I don't know where you want to start with WrestlePalooza. I know it's a big deal. I know a lot of high expectations coming into this show, CZ. Of course, we have the Netflix premiere to kind of shadow this one too. Like this one's always going to be held up to that Netflix premiere at the beginning of the year. That's kind of the expectations. They treated that like a Mania. Well, they're going to do something special here, right? This is debuting on ESPN's platform. This is the first PLE that's not on Peacock or not on the WWE network. This is the new norm going forward. Is this on ESPN now? And you've got the ESPN streaming app, which good for you. That's awesome. I do not. And I had our buddy Kyle. He found out right before the show that he had to pay the additional $30 because he didn't have the right package with ESPN. So I think a lot of people, they didn't handle that part right. That wasn't explained. You were just told if you had YouTube TV, which is what my carrier is currently. If I had YouTube TV, then I would be okay. But no, you need to, throw down the additional $30 a month or whatever.
And evidently that's a contract thing between YouTube and Disney. YouTube has not officially signed on to be a part of. They haven't reached an agreement for them to be a part of the ESPN app, even though ESPN is part of their television lineup.
I sure hope they do. I sure hope they do. It'd make things a lot easier, I think, for a lot of people. But until then, I guess I'll get by with a little help from my friends. I want to thank my buddy Ethan. He had me over to his place and we watched the show tonight. He had the ESPN streaming app, and the expectations were high. And before I stop talking and let you jive on for a little bit, I'm a big fan of the spectacle. I'm a big fan of the production. I think you would say the same. We both have worked in television, so we kind of know how stuff is laid out or have an idea how stuff's laid out and production, behind the scenes stuff. So I kind of dig all that stuff. And, ESPN, top-notch production, whether you're watching college football, college softball, whatever it is, they're masters at their craft. And WWE at the top of their game with their production aspect is what sets them apart from everybody else.
Yep.
Aside from the load of stars. So, I wasn't expecting ESPN to drop the ball by any means. I read a couple things online. I tried to stay offline. That people were kind of complaining about the setup. They were upset about the simplicity of it. And it wasn't some big, designer stage. And I don't think you need that for this show. That's for your big shows, WrestleMania, SummerSlam. That's where you have that. You don't need that here. They're trying to get as many people into that building. So I kind of like the throwback too. It's just a straight down the aisle, video screen behind them. There's not a lot of pyro. There is obviously for the bigger stars, but I like the simplicity of it. And call me, an old man, get off my yard, whatever you want, but I'm fine with that. I don't need a big elaborate setup. I guess I'm of the age where I don't need all the bells and whistles. I just want to watch the show. And they put on a good show tonight. And the production was great. Knew it would be. But yeah, you go from, if you were an AEW fan today, from watching an 11-match card over, the span of just under 5 hours to a 5-match card. There's a big difference there. So what's great is we have options. What's great is those options have very dedicated fan bases. They also have some very over-dedicated fan bases. There's stuff I like on that. Nothing just really tripped my trigger with this show. It just didn't. And I'm a big FTR fan. You know that. And Edge and Christian in that match, just wasn't a chance in hell FTR was going to win. You knew that Edge and Christian, I just kind of felt like they wasted it for nothing in AEW. There wasn't anything on the line. It would have been cool if there was something on the line, like FTR's number one contendership. Yeah. That could have been on the line. That would have meant so much more to me. But I just, nothing really stuck out to me. I guess I would have been interested in the Darby Allin, your boy, Don Moxley, Darby Allin and John Moxley match, just to see what crazy lengths Darby was going to go to. But nothing really tripped my trigger. And I'm not tribalistic in that matter when it comes to being a fan. I like gals on both shows. Trust me, I do. And there's stuff that both shows do that I like. And there's stuff that both shows do that I don't like. So there just wasn't enough meat on the bone for me there to have to sit 8 hours, because I was definitely going to watch tonight with the debut of it on ESPN.
Right.
Now I'm going to stop talking for a while. Give me your thoughts. I did not watch the pre-show, but friend of the show and current production assistant, Don Feldman, told me that the pre-show was amazing. It was like a college game day type feel with how they approached it, or an NFL game day. Did you watch the pre-show before this pay-per-view tonight, CZ?
Not the entirety of it. I tuned in about 45 minutes before the show went on the air. I thought it was very well put together. They had a lot of interview packages. Particularly the ones that I saw were AJ Lee and CM Punk. And that was recorded earlier. They were talking with Corey Graves, who of course was not present at this event. He was written off by getting 2 F5s from Brock Lesnar last night as we air this, as we go live. So kudos to Corey Graves for taking 2 F5s and not really walking away to tell the tale, but yeah, I'm not taking 2 F. I'm not even taking 1 F5. So kudos to Corey. But the part that really got me, I believe it was Kathy Kelly, conducted an interview with Drew McIntyre. And Drew's whole shtick about how, he's He's right. He's getting screwed over, things like that. He calls Cody a liar. In fact, and goes even far. This was the funniest line I've heard in a while. He says Cody has liabetes.